Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Master RKO, and today we're going to be trying something a little bit new. Now, this is something I've been wanting to do for probably what's been going on 4 months now, but a podcast about gaming is something I've been wanting to do for a while. Before YouTube and anything, podcasts were really on the rise, and that was something that I always wanted to do. So, to integrate that into YouTube and Twitch streaming, I've seen a lot of people start one, and especially with a game like The Division that's out now, that's definitely something that's podcast worthy. So, today I do have a guest. Never expected to have a guest on my first podcast, but I do. And before I try to butcher his gamer tag, sir, what is your gamer tag, and introduce yourself?
Well, everybody on stream, I'm the Augurer. I'll be with RKO in the podcast.
Is there anything cool or interesting about yourself that you'd like to tell the viewers?
Cool or interesting? Well, I am a huge fan of video games, especially loot-based games, so The Division was an easy pick for me. But I've been gaming damn near my entire life. And I like getting into the fundamentals of the game, so like I am a big number cruncher, which is why I love these types of games.
So you're probably big into Destiny and kind of
Yes,
almost the whole MMO aspect.
yes, very much so.
Well, since we're on what used to be downtime about the division, um, I'm assuming that you've hit level 30 and have some stories of that of just playing the game in general that have been pretty exciting. I know I have.
Yes, there's been a lot of interesting times.
Yeah,
Very.
we've been playing for the last couple weeks, I would say. And we've had some experiences.
And it's funny how some of the best ones are when when the timer comes down and you're on the line trying to get the little last bit you can before they have these updates and shut the servers down, like what just recently happened.
Yeah, that's something that it gets you. But since we have been playing for the last couple weeks, but before that, was there anything exciting that happened before me and you met in the Dark Zone or anything? Like, was there any major story that happened?
Um,
Maybe.
well, there was this one time I was with a friend of mine. I was level 19, I think he was level 18. So, and at this point in time, we'd gone into the Dark Zone a couple times, but I really wanted to save the Dark Zone till I was 30. But then when I found out that it was split up into brackets, I figured as long as I'm the highest level in that bracket, I'd be fine. And so I figured when we were around that level, the highest level was 19. So I pulled him into the dark zone. I'm like, we're gonna go around and we're just gonna kill people. I had seen so many videos of people throwing grenades at people trying to extract, and I wanted to emulate that. So we go in and he gets real trigger happy. He starts shooting the first guy he sees and downs him. So we went rogue first 15 seconds going into the dark zone, and we're still by the checkpoint. And the person that got downed, he had two friends with him, and it's just me and my buddy. We're in a party of two, and so I pull out my marksman rifle and shoot at the guy who's shooting my friend now. Downed him in one shot, and it wasn't even a headshot. I think he was probably a level 15, and then my friend, and he ended up getting downed and killed. But after I downed the first guy, I pulled out my SMG and downed him and just went up, punched them both. My buddy came back in and we just started running. And we just ran in a straight line through the street, and people, like every now and then, we'd hop behind a car and we'd turn around. And there had to have been 8, 10 people chasing us down. So I'd fire off one more round of my marksman rifle, down a guy, and then we'd start booking again. We had to have killed 8 people before we ran out of ammo, and they just surrounded us. That was my first big experience in the Dark Zone and going rogue, and that was so exciting.
I was gonna
It was
say, it sounds
fantastic.
sounds like you guys got, into being rogue status and almost kind of being, the bandits pretty early.
Yeah.
I, I'm kind of the opposite, where I'm real because I play solo more than anything. So I'm real stealth. I'll wait for a couple people to get taken out to strike, or I'll sit back and pick people off from a distance before anyone can find out I'm there. But sounds like your first experiences were I really want to be this guy that runs around and terrorizes people and picks and chooses his moments, but still gets his loot and finds the best stuff fast.
Yeah. And that's how it started off, because that was the whole thrill of the Dark Zone, was being able to be a bandit or being able to help people. And usually it would turn out where I'd start to help somebody, but then I'd want everything. So I would end up helping somebody and then turning on them to steal all their stuff. But that kind of faded once I hit level 30, and then it was just because it's so hard to tell how, like, it feels like there's a level gap between level 30s. Like somebody's level 30 could be a 19 compared to another person's level 30.
Like it almost seems
So
like
that
the whole like even though the dark zone level is only a number, it almost seems like there is like level 30 dark zones and level 50 dark zones still have that upper edge almost because of their ability to get the better gear and go up higher than level 29s and below. They still have that they can't get that extra stuff and get those cases, so that it almost feels like it's a completely different dark zone depending on who you're
yeah,
playing against.
yeah,
Um
that's for sure.
yeah. So you said you went in with your buddy and had that. I know, like, I've played solo a lot. I don't know how often you go. I mean, a lot of people don't recommend it because chances are, if you're going
hmm
solo, you're probably going to die. But um, any solo experiences at all? Like, even if it's like getting completely crapped on for 30 minutes or something.
um, I when I first turned level 30, I didn't have anybody else who could be in my bracket. Like on my friends list, everybody I played with was lower, so I have a couple experiences soloing. Um, but I guess at the time when I was 30, the threat of dying as a rogue was just so high
Yeah, because
that
that
nothing
XP.
really happened. Yeah, it was just I felt like I was just running around, couldn't really kill any of the bosses at the time, but I just killed some enemies, extracted when I could, when I'd passed players. It there wasn't really a threat of dying. I mean, I was still scared of dying because at the time I didn't realize that going rogue had such a negative effect. But I did know that I was a new level 30, so I didn't want to mess with any other people. And nobody ended up messing with me, really.
Well, yeah, like
It was kind of straightforward.
I know when the game first came out, because I didn't go Dark Zone until level 30. My original plan was to hit 14 at the max rank at the lowest level and go from there. But I know, like, immediately, as soon as I hit 30, I decided to go in. And it still almost seemed like there was nobody willing to go rogue. Or when they did,
Yeah.
it wasn't manhunt. You never seen anyone go manhunt status, and you never saw anyone you know, you never saw like a large group trying to post up somewhere as you do now. Because I mean, you go into the dark zone now, especially at like towards down times, or a group of 4 or 5 who really know, like, have their gear and they kind of know what they're doing. They'll post up like at the top of DZ2 and just chill and go manhunt for 5 or 6 minutes. But I mean, back
Yeah.
pre-patch, you lost like 3 or 4 levels if you died even a bit
Even being a
rogue.
lower
Yeah,
level Dark Zone player, I would lose 2 levels.
yeah,
And I think at the time I was only Dark Zone 17.
yeah. So
Just wasn't worth it.
since you've told a couple stories, I'll tell one. I'll tell the backstory of when we met, at least. Since we've been
That
playing this
was
for a
fun.
while, and I feel like I keep getting initiated into your friend group because I've just jumped in with whoever you're playing with. Like none of the people that I
Yeah.
play with have usually gotten on, or if they do, they're just doing dailies or still trying to hit level 30. Um, so basically, I was running around solo as usual, and this guy came up to me. I don't even remember his actual name, but he didn't talk. He didn't have a mic. He probably did. He just didn't want to use it. He didn't say anything to me, and he didn't like really try to communicate or even have a sound strategy. Um, and but I was running around with him because I mean, when it comes to the dark zone, if you can find some kind of a friend, you at least have a better chance. To be honest,
Hmm.
because this guy was sketchy as it was, I mean, he had loot on him, but he never extracted. He always had the same bag on him, but we went to like 3 or 4 extraction zones, and I would extract, and he would just sit there. He would never extract, which was sketchy to me as it was. So the
Yeah,
chances
that's
of me
very
trying
odd.
to turn on him eventually just to see what he had on him was very good in general. Um, so I decided to go up and extract, and we were on the DZ2 extraction point up on the roof. There's a parking garage. And I extracted, and he took off somewhere. And I think you extracted too. And after some NPCs came up, and you covered for me, and then when I went back, I ended up covering for you.
Yeah.
And whoever I was with, I don't even know who the guy was. He took off, like he was gone. So I have no clue where he even went. So he didn't even care about being in a group, and I even tried like talking to him, and nothing happened. So since then, I kind of like we kind of added each other to a group, and since then we were running around for the longest time, and I think me and you just ran around with each other that night for a good 3 or 4 hours, and then
Yeah.
added each other, and since then we've been playing at least like we'll try to get on once a day, but some like of course one of us usually sometimes will have stuff to do, working and everything, so that's always a thing. But we always try to get on and at least do some of the dailies just 'cause it's easier, and then I think at least once or twice a week you'll have someone that you play with will be on. So like every time we play, I end up meeting someone else, and I mean we pretty much at any time if we need a group of 4, I guess we can kind of have one, but especially
At
with the
least close to it.
well, yeah, and with these incursions coming up, you're going to need that. You're going to need someone. You're going to need a group of 4 that you can play
Yeah.
with. So, like right now, I'm trying to build more health for my stuff and get more tanky or something. But just like I've thought about trying to make a second character at some point and just blitz through everything to try to go like super tank and just nothing but health and shotguns and stuff just to but I don't know. We'll see how the incursions are, and just for anybody in the chat wondering what's going on, or anybody who's watching, right now I'm pretty sure it's off of maintenance time. Um, we just decided to do this podcast during the maintenance time, started a little bit late, so we're going to be going till 4 o'clock. So we've still got 20 minutes, but we're talking about all things division, and since we're talking about the division, um, I know I told you a couple things about the new update that's coming up with the whole incursions and the new gear and stuff. What are your opinions
Yeah.
on the new
Ah,
stuff?
so the new stuff, I'm not sure, because one of the, I mean, I understand they need to include new gear, otherwise you'll end up already getting max level stuff and you'll have nothing to strive for and you'll lose interest in the game.
Destiny, Kafka.
But,
I mean, what? I didn't say that.
right? But I I also hate when like I do put in all this effort and then I get such like good gear that I'm happy with, I'm stable with, and then the first thing that the first update or whatever this update, if it actually does what I'm saying, releases something that'll instantly get rid of what I have, and easy to get. Hopefully it's not easy to get because then I'll still be able to use my gear and actually strive towards getting this new gear. Um, but I'm excited for it. A little
I think
cautious.
the challenge of the new mode, if it lives up to, because I mean they're saying, from what I heard from some of the devs, is that they all tried it, and only like one group of four of the devs team was actually able to complete it.
Really.
That's their
See,
goal.
now
Is if
that's exciting.
as long as it's possible, it's good. But there was only through testing, only one group was able to actually complete it.
Wow.
Now to be
You should.
fair, some people say some of the devs suck at the game, so
Yeah.
that's one thing. But still, I mean, that kind of gives you some kind of challenge to look forward to.
And I'm excited for the challenge because, like right now, it feels like most people are just building health with some damage or like going between those two. You never really see any skill builds. And if you do, it's very, very few far in between, and you'll never see a solo skill build. But with these new stresses on the difficulty working with your team, maybe it'll feel more like people have a role and it's not just a group. It's you might actually have your dedicated healer, you might actually have your dedicated tank and your DPS and then your wild card, whoever you need to bolster,
Yeah, like
which that
if you
could
got
be
like a
really
weak point.
exciting. hmm
Yeah, because I
Which
know
I
I'm. Go ahead.
when I first saw things for the division, I remember I was telling my buddies, I'm like, all right, you always, no matter what game it is, you like just running at people and gunning. So you're gonna be our tank, and then my other buddy, he's like, oh well, I'll be a healer, and I love to snipe. I do in every first-person shooter or shooting game. So I was gonna take up the whole DPS role, and like we had that in our mind that that's what we were gonna do. But then when we started playing, we could all really do everything. So
That
with
was
the new
how
challenge,
that was how my group was. The people that I was playing with, especially like through the beta. Um, I've obviously been playing more than they have in the end. But when we first talked, we had one player who was constantly running gun no matter whatever game we played. Call of Duty, you know, Battlefield, and you could even do like MOBAs. He was running gun, jumping in, balls deep, 24/7. So we were like, all right, you will definitely, in a game that involves cover based and low health, you will definitely have to be our tank. You'll use shotguns, you'll build full health. You will have your, like, skill wise, you'll have, like, the shield, you'll have, the security wing stuff, maybe some tech stuff.
hmm
You're going to be our tank, you're going to be our peeler. And then we had another guy who is really good. He loves sniping and staying back, but he also was really eventually we found out he was really good on the healing. So we're like, okay, you'll kind of be our support. You'll sit back and take out the long range guys, or you'll take out people who are rushing us, but you'll also have your skills. You'll have your healing, but you'll also have maybe like a sticky bomb or a turret or something. And then and it kind of goes to personal preference too. Like some of us only like certain things. Like some of us like only being able to kill, and some of us like only being able
hmm
to tank damage and just live forever. And then I'm kind of the person that I'll play whatever. I'll fill whatever role you need me to fill. If we play a MOBA, I'll happily play support even though no one wants to play it. If we're playing a game where someone needs to get kills, I'll jump into that role. If someone needs to heal people, I'll hop into that. If someone needs someone to just peel for them and be that nuisance, that's me as well. So I kind of want to be that all around. I want health, I want damage, so that way when I hop into this, I can do whatever, and that's kind of what I've been building. And I mean I play solo as well, so I'm very I love stealth, which is why I think they need to add something into the game with stealth. Maybe like a
Yeah.
I think they should add a I think they what they should do is they should switch the 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 medical wings specialist ability. They should switch the the regen for the extra shield, like the extra armor. And I feel like the security
Yeah.
wing should have um, no sound and extra movement speed.
Mm. No
Because
sound?
yeah, like no,
I like that.
like you don't make sounds when you're running. Everything that you have is very stealth, and you have extra movement speed. I feel like that would balance it because I feel like everyone's using the security wing specialist to,
Yes.
and it's very overused. It's very as the popular kids would say, it's very unbalanced. It's too
Yeah,
viable, and
well, just
everything
looking at
else.
the numbers.
Yeah, like everything else, like 80% damage mitigation. That's ridiculous. You don't even get that in MOBAs. So,
Yeah.
I mean that's something. So I think if you would take the damage mitigation, throw that over to the health wing with the able to being able to revive, because that would be a pretty good thing to have. Being able to tank people and then run up and heal them from far away, like that'd be a pretty good mix. I think the tech wing's
Hmm.
fine the way it is, and then because the security wing, even for solo players, the fact that you can pop that, walk into like a group of 4 or 5, take literally no damage, and if you have the right gear, can kill them all. Especially like
Yeah.
the pre-patch, if you had the Midas, you could just do that easily. But even now, like some of the gear that you
Hmm.
get, if
You'd
you
get
have
it
the right
back.
gear sets, yeah, you can just whip around. I know one of the guys that was streaming with the devs was talking about how um, he had a tank build as it was, so he had 100,000 health, and he had 4 people chasing him, and most of the time, if 4 people are chasing you, you just run. Like you use your movement speed, and you're out of there. And he said all he did was pop it, turn around, and
Hmm.
walk into him, and they couldn't even drop his health. I think that needs
Yeah.
balance. That needs. I think the mitigation, if the
Yeah.
mitigation was
There's
going to the
no
health,
situation. Hmm.
yeah, like
There's no situation you should be able to do that.
yeah, like you should not be able to do that. If they take the the mitigation, throw that over on health, and then or the medic, and then add like a stealth to the security wing, I think that gives the medical wing, because no one's using the medical wing. I don't think I've seen anybody use the medical wing
Yeah.
specialist. So I think they need to give something to the medical wing to make it more useful or viable
Hmm.
if you're from pop culture. Um, I think if they do that, the medical wing will be used. If they add stealth to the tech wing, I think that will still be used. I think you will still get use out of the tech wing. I would probably use it even more if it was stealth, or if it was like you didn't have like no sound, like you didn't make any noise for a certain amount of time. That would be really cool, because say you're running away from somebody, they can hear you running, or say you're sneaking up on somebody. That would make even more for rogues and stuff, or getting by people that you say there's a group of 4 people. You don't want them to hear you running around clanking and banging if you're trying to kill them. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
So that would make the other groups used. Because the only other one that I've seen used, I saw the tech wing used once, and that was the other day that when me and you played. I don't think I've ever
Yeah.
seen the medical, so that something needs to change in the specialists, because the support station is good, but once you get enough ammo, you don't need it. The especially
Hmm.
if you're fighting in if you're fighting NPCs, that's one thing. If you're fighting rogues and players, that's another. Um, but other than the support station and kind of the pulse, the medic wings, there's nothing there. So,
Yeah.
it do you
It's
is there
very
anything that you think that
select.
might like maybe a change to either one of the wings that might give balance to some of these stuff because they're into balancing stuff, and I know they have ideas.
Hmm.
But is there
Oh yeah,
anything
they're
that you
very
would
quick to
like?
balancing things
Yeah.
too.
So is there anything that you
See,
think for that would make it more balanced?
the problem is that I can't think of something that I would give the medical wing to make it more viable, because that is like the epitome of what the medical wing is supposed to do. And I would personally keep the damage resistance on the security, because that's supposed to be the tanky side. I would definitely reduce it from 80 though. That's just so much you
Yeah.
can take. But for medical wing, I don't know. I would probably give it some form of instant overheal, but even that's still kind of
Well, I
subpar
think
compared to the other two.
I'm pretty sure that the revive can give overheal because it's a giant AOE. So
Yeah,
it gives so if your teammates are near the person you revive at a distance, I'm pretty sure it gives an overheal.
yeah. And
Maybe
one of the
not.
biggest problems
I don't know
with the
because
medical wing is the fact that if somebody goes down, well, if somebody dies after being downed, which doesn't make that big of a difference in the Dark Zone, because once you die, when you're downed, you have to respawn. But outside in PvE, you can still be revived, but that skill can't revive you.
right. So
Um,
that's
and it's really easy to die when you're downed. One extra shotgun shot, or sometimes it doesn't even seem like that happens, and you just go straight to dead.
yeah.
Um,
There's something with the medical wing that needs to be changed to make people go, "Oh, I need that." Like
yeah.
you hear the extra crit chance and crit damage from the tech wing, you're like, "Oh, that could be useful." I don't know what the other thing is. I know it's crit chance, or it's like extra crit damage or something. Is there
Uh,
something else that it's
yeah,
used for?
crit chance, crit damage, and I think it just increases your standard damage.
Okay.
Not
Yeah, I think
entirely
so.
yeah, damage buff, crit chance, and
So, I
damage.
mean, you hear, "Oh, extra damage. Oh, I need that." 80% damage
Yeah.
mitigation and movement speed. Oh, I could use that on both engaging and disengaging. You hear like heal from afar and health regeneration. You're like, okay, healing from afar, that's situational. Someone has to be
Mhm.
down in order for that to work. And then the overheal, kind of the same thing. If you're fighting NPCs, that's not really something you're going to want to waste because you can just heal them regularly. Or
Yeah.
even like the overheal, not all the time it's going to be used because if you're only using it for like one person and everyone else is fully healed, yeah, reviving the one person, well, that's going to be good. But if your other person can just go over and revive it, you're not going to waste it. So,
Mhm.
I mean,
And the first aid and healing station do that job
I
just
think
fine.
one thing that is very underlooked at is people actually using multiple specialists in a group. I thought about this yesterday because me and you, we both run the security wing specialist with a mitigation,
Yeah.
which, if used at the same time, they don't stack. So if you're using them very close
Mhm.
together, even though you're getting the extra movement speed, they're really not. It's not useful for two people to have them. But if you have someone with the extra mitigation, and then have someone immediately throw on the one with the extra damage and crit stuff, that's overpowered because now you have the
Yeah.
mitigation and the extra damage. So I think a lot of groups are trying to use the exact same one just to get more of it. But I think if you have like a group of
Make it
four,
last longer.
if you have the healer, use the medical wing specialist, and if you have the tank, use the security wing specialist, and if you have like the main damage, use the tech wing specialist, and then have the fourth guy use one of the other two and find out what you're missing. Say you're going to a mission, you're getting rushed a lot, have him use the tech wing thing. If you're or the security, if you're having a lot of
Hmm.
people need that extra bit of damage, have him use that. If you're needing the health and blah blah blah. But that's one thing that I thought about was, one of us uses the security wing one and get the extra mitigation and the movement speed. But if you're in a fight, the other person can't really use his unless he's using it to escape.
Hmm.
But you already
Yeah.
have that
Which they'll,
movement speed if someone's used it.
yeah.
So
Hopefully the incursions will spread out, like we'll have the teamwork more settled in, so people will actually be able to function better as a
yeah,
team. And then maybe we'll see those people who have done incursions enter the dark zone, and they'll maybe have a more varied use of the skills. But for right now, definitely it's all leaning towards the security and maybe every now and then the tech wing
yeah, like
signature.
the medical wing really is needing some love, but unfortunately, there's no reason to use it because I mean, even the extra health regen. The problem with that is if me and you as a group of two go into a group of four and they down one of us, yeah, we can revive the other person, but how long before they're dead again? And then you just wasted your ability. So,
Yeah.
like, I guess it also depends on the type of group. If you're running with a full group of four, yeah, you might be able to revive a bunch of people with it, but at the same time, everybody could just have 80% damage mitigation and not be able to die at all.
Yeah. And who knows if I don't know the timings between the signature skills, but they feel like if one person uses it and as soon as it's up, the next person uses it, by the time that fourth person uses his, the first person's got to be at least close.
I think it's 180 seconds.
180
Might
seconds.
have to
Alright, and they
do.
last for 15 seconds.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure it's 3 minutes or like 3 or 4. I don't know.
Okay.
It's
Alright,
pretty
so there's
long,
still some good
but
downtime.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of time in between each time you use it.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, I yeah, there's still by the time you use one and by the time all four of you have used it, you're still waiting because I think the ability lasts for 15 seconds. So at the end of
Yeah.
that, you know,
But
minute,
then again, how long is each encounter?
yeah.
Because
So
one use, two uses, and then whatever encounter you're in is probably over. But
yeah, so and then you only have two people. So if you're running through the dark zone and you get, say, you're in DZ6, you use two of your abilities and then you run into more people. Use your other two, and now you're waiting another 90 seconds
yeah.
to just get your ability back, and that would just be with a one person. So I don't know. It's definitely something to think about, but it is almost 4 o'clock. So um, just before we head off and hop back on the division and probably I haven't done my dailies yet, so we could probably run through them or just go straight into the dark zone. But before we go, um, if you could get one named weapon from the dark zone or just in general, what would it be and why? Mine, of course, I still want the Midas, even though it got nerfed. I just want it.
Yeah.
It looks good. It shoots good. I just want the Midas. So what would yours be?
Uh, I would have to say the yeah, I would have to say the Midas as well. There's just something about SMGs, and I want to see how it actually stacks up to my vector.
Well, I know the high-end AUGs seem to be better than the high-end Vectors.
Yeah,
A lot of people have said that
if I could ever get
if you
that
get a
to
high
drop.
if you a lot of people say if you get a high-end AUG, automatically just switch it out from your Vector. I don't know why that even like devs and people that have streamed with the devs are like, I have a Vector. I've had the Vector for a long time, but the AUG, I want a high-end AUG to see what it does. But I mean, the Midas is it's the, I think it's the T821, that submachine gun. I think
Yeah.
that's what it's modeled after, which is pretty good in general. So the Midas is definitely my go-to high-end. If I was going to get a named, that's what it would be. Unfortunately, it only comes from the drop system, so I have a better chance of getting like the Tenebrae or something like that. But
Yeah.
I heard one of the devs say the Pecan in the light machine gun is actually like second or third best named. Like a lot of people are complaining about how the named weapons aren't as good as a lot of the dropped stuff that you can get or the blueprints, which is true. But I heard like
Yeah.
it was like the Midas, the Liberator, the Tenebrae, and the Pecan are like the four
Which I
main
like that they're
ones.
not as good as the random ones you can get because they aren't random. They have a fixed set of perks. You know exactly what you're getting once you get it. And for that, they probably should be a little bit less than the things you get by chance.
That's
Even though you got to get them through drops, or
yeah,
some of them
yeah,
through drops.
yeah, um and then like the talents and stuff you're getting on them. So it just a
Yeah.
matter. It eventually just goes into what attachments you put onto it. But that's it's 4 o'clock, so we're gonna go ahead and I think we're gonna cut it off there and get back to playing. So for everyone who tuned in and watched live, thank you guys for tuning in. Everyone's kind of leaving now, so uh, time is up for that. For those of you who maybe watch this on YouTube later, um, if you like this and want to see more of stuff like this, which hopefully we do more of these, especially with all the downtimes and stuff, click that like button. It'll show the support. Leave a comment if there's maybe another game or any topics that you would like me and any guests, or we may have Og back on more times. He may be like a second host, and we can kidnap his friends and have them as guests. Um,
Fair enough.
but and as always, subscribe if you want to see more videos from me, myself, and I. And as always, I'm Master RKO, and I will see you guys next time. Adios.